All right, we're back. This is going to be part 3. So what should you put in your emergency preparedness stockpile? Well, all Americans should have at least a 3-day supply of food. We talked about our 72 get home or stay at home thing. But 72 hours of food to at least figure out what's going on and to stay in your house and figure out what's going on. If you have the space. But anyway, if you have the space, then I suggest or recommend at least a week's supply of food and water. A basic food and water, a week's supply. Okay, try to go a week if you can. And most people do that. They go to the grocery store every week, so they've got that anyway, right? Well, you think you would, but didn't you notice how often you eat out during the week? You know, really tally up 3 meals a day for 7 days and try to make it last. I've got different videos where I'm using like ground beef in 2 or 3 different recipes, and I'm putting some in the freezer and some for that night's dinner. So I'm actually making 2 or 3 meals. Like that night's dinner, maybe the next day's lunch, and maybe another day's little sandwich, like a hamburger patty or something. So I'm making that stretch, okay? Make it stretch. And that saves you money, but it also teaches you how to make it stretch in an emergency. You're learning skills. It's about skill learning. Now, water-wise, I'm fine because I have a Berkey. I do suggest some sort of a water filtration system, and I'll put the link to the Berkey down below, if they let me put the link in there. Alright, I think I got that fixed. So choose foods that don't require refrigeration in certain types of scenarios, like let's say you have an earthquake or a tornado. Try to choose your longer food stores should not require refrigeration. They should be in jars, cans, dehydrated, and stored in 5-gallon buckets, Mylar bags, oxygen absorbers. We're going to go all over all of that and the size of oxygen absorbers for the size of the jars and Mylar bags. We're going to go over all that. Okay, we're going to do it this month. That's what we're doing. Emergency Preparedness Month. All right, so your stockpile should also contain flashlights. And of course I use like through nights and things like that, and I always use headlights. So that keeps my hands... I use them a lot when I talk. I'm just kidding. Okay, so a manual can opener. I don't use my electric can opener. That's something that I have too much of. I need my manuals. And I even still use the military style. Going around. Of course, now with my wrist, after I hurt my wrist, it's so tender to even move it. But, so your stockpile should contain, I got my list here, should contain flashlights, a manual can opener, a radio, and remember mine's got the flashlight and you just go like this and it's got the radio. Batteries, if it takes it. Mine does not take a radio, mine takes solar, so I keep it out in the daylight during the day and it works off of that or the crank. Depending on your family's needs, medicines, and also you may need other medical supplies. You'll need pet food. You'll need contact lenses, contact lens solution, your glasses, and or diapers and formula. All right, diapers, formulas, and wipes. And any medicines like baby Tylenol, adult Tylenol, cough syrups, anything that you would give the baby. And you can just keep the extra stuff stored in the baby's room. It's fine. Just keep it in a box and up in the top of the closet or something. It's fine. Babies don't require a whole lot, but the diapers do take up some room. So I suggest doing what I do and go with cloth diapering. Yeah, go with cloth diapering. I actually mix the two together. I put her in a regular diaper at night, and we've already almost got her potty trained at 15 months. Well, she's almost 16 months, but I've almost got her potty trained. She definitely is dry most mornings. So I can just about put her in panties at night, but what I think I might do is just put her in some pull-ups, just to get her to the bathroom a little quicker. Just a matter of getting to her in the morning and not letting her be and have playtime in the morning in her crib. Getting her to the bathroom and then getting her bathed in the morning, and it just, the sound of the running water just makes her go. So hopefully I won't always have to be running water with her, but or pouring a little water down her tummy, or like if you want a baby to pee. Did you know if they're changing their diaper and you want them to pee one more time before you change the diaper, because maybe the diaper will hold a little bit more, you can rub a little cold rag or a little wipe on their tummy right below the navel, and that'll cause them to pee, especially little boys. And then that will fill up the diaper more, so when you change it, they won't pee in this brand new diaper you just put them on. That makes that diaper last a little longer. Just a little hint from a mom there. And I've got several children, so a little tip there. All right, so because it's about stretching your dollar, stretching your dime, and saving money, right? We got to save money too. And you know how I feel about Zote soap. I use it for everything. Um, if it's too expensive for you to buy everything for your stockpile at once, then pick up 1 or 2 items every time you go to the grocery store. That's what I do. Every time I go to Dollar General, I get my coupons out. I stock up on our favorite deodorant, shampoos, toothpastes, toothbrushes, those types of things. I stock up. Medicines, you name it, we stock up. Stock up on vegetables. Stock up on seeds so you'll have a fresh garden. But if you're in the middle of the winter or coming into the winter and you don't know that you've canned enough or put enough food aside, you're in an apartment, whatever your situation is, okay? I want you to pack up some organic seeds because you can get the seeds off that plant again and replant it without having to buy it. And never plant organic seeds around seeds that are not organic, or you'll ruin your seed. They'll combine together. The bees and stuff will come in there and combine your pollen and make it so it's not. You might not have all the good seed that you could. So plant your organic seeds and your hybrid seeds separate from each other so they don't cross pollinate. Stock up on vegetables, batteries, and things like that at bulk stores, bulk sales and bulk stores. Even if you split a case of vegetables or goods with a friend and you go in there together, even the military, it has really good AFEs. You can go in there and get some things. You can go to the commissary. So plan on going in with another military friend or another military wife and split something. Once you've assembled your stockpile, okay, once you've got it assembled, then you need to put it where you won't be tempted to borrow from it. Most people don't talk about this, but don't borrow from the items that are your long-term food storage. Like when I dry canned the beans and rice, I never borrowed from that. When I vacuum sealed the milk powder, I never borrowed from that until I needed it. Now, if you're going to use pouch items that are just box good items from the store, you'll want to look at those due dates and expiration dates in your canned goods, and you'll want to rotate those. Even your home canned goods, you'll want to rotate those. But always try to keep the number that you used for that year, so you'll make that number for the following year. So let's say you only canned 8 green beans, but you needed 12. Then you'll want to can 12 the next year, okay? Or 14 or 15. You know, you want to go over, not under. But you never want to be under. You never want to be under. So once you've assembled your stockpile, put it where you don't want to be tempted to borrow from it. And the next time you run out of batteries or need beans for a recipe, remember your stockpile is for emergencies. Go get it. Use it then. Okay? Now someone asked me, how do I store my stockpiles? How do I store my emergency preparedness stockpile? Okay, well, get ready for a stockpiling tip. Are you ready? When it's time to change your clocks for daylight savings time, check your emergency preparedness stockpile at that time. And replace anything that is expired or missing at that time. So I always use daylight savings times changes that day. It's just a reminder. It's just a way to remind myself. But I still check my stocks every 2 weeks. I still make my list and I still check my stocks every 2 weeks. You want to store stuff with easy access to it for an emergency. You want to store it in totes at times or in buckets where you got an easy handle, grab and go. Don't make everything too heavy that your wife can't lift it and go. Don't make it too heavy that your teenage son or your teenage daughter can't lift it and go. I mean, and you'll want to put things in categories like emergency, 72 hours. It might be separate. The water and the food might be separate from your longer term food storage. You want her to grab that 72-hour container, mark it 72-hour container, make sure it's clear and it's on top at a reach that you know your driving teenage daughter can grab it, go and meet you somewhere with it, okay? Say, honey, grab our bug out bags and our 72-hour container. Get it in your little Honda and get your butt over here and we'll meet you over here at the state park. For example, this entrance, park entrance. She puts it in the car, she drives over, and she's not in such a panic because she knows, okay, she knows you're prepared. If you live in an apartment or a small home or are short on space, then be creative. You know there's under the bed. There's under the bed storage, roll-out storage. So it's handy to keep all your supplies together in case you evacuate quickly. So we just discussed that. And as such, during a hurricane, in a pinch, a laundry basket can make an easy storage container as well. So just grab everything from the kitchen cabinets that maybe you need, because maybe that's where you're storing it. Put it in a laundry basket and go. Just don't forget clothes. Don't forget clothes and don't forget cash. Or your cards. Some cards might not work where you're going, but if you live in an apartment or a small home and are short on space, be creative. Compact wrapping paper bins. You know the wrapping paper bins? They are a great way to store canned food. They stack right up in there. You can store paper towel, toilet paper, all kinds of things in those. They're great ways to go. And if your car is compact, if you're in an apartment, it probably is. They're a great way to tip on their side and to store on top of each other. The wrapping paper bins. The risers can add more space under the bed. So put risers on, add more space. People also have unusual space behind and under their sofa. So consider that. Add a dishwasher. Okay, you have a dishwasher but you don't use it, like me. That's where I store my canning jars, but you can store stuff there. Remove your dishwasher. Put it some shelves and a little curtain. You can store stuff there. You can store supplies there. Find places to store your stuff. This isn't just about stockpiling, because you don't want to hoard. You don't want to be a hoarder. We're not asking you to be a hoarder. Some people just go way overboard. We're talking, farmers always had about a 6-month supply of food until the next crop went in. I learned after my crop flooded last year, there was no crop that went out. Now I'm going to go for 2 years now, because I don't have anything that I had a whole lot left from the year before. We would have, if I hadn't put it in storage and kept it at the other house while the house was showing, I would have lost. I wouldn't have had anything left if we'd eaten it. So now I've got it for the emergency because we bought groceries instead. How often do I need to refresh or rotate my stockpile is another question I get. Okay, tick, 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 tick. What did I tell you? Check them every 2 weeks, but replace it in a rotation fashion. You're going to use 1 Spanish rice packet here, then put that automatically that you ate it on your grocery list, and when you go to the grocery store, try to replenish it then. And then you're just constantly moving food this way, but having the same amount. Get it? Always place the newer items in the back, the older items in the front. You want to move the older stock first. All right, another question I get. How can I tell if my stockpiles are still good? The easiest way to tell if your food is still good or usable isn't just the expiration dates on it, okay? Bottled water can go bad eventually, right? Eventually, but we got the Berkey. You can always run it through the Berkey and then it's clean again. So there you go. But so look for, if you don't have that, look for stamp dates on your water containers. Look for stamp dates on your cans. You know to do that. And that's always a good by date. Things are always good longer than that. You and I both know that. And some things may go stale, but that doesn't mean it's bad. All right? So just use common sense about that. If a can's bloated, it's no good. If a can's exploded, it's no good. If a can's lid's popped up, it's no good. If meat has a lot of freezer burn on it, that's questionable. Mostly just physically examine your jars and your canned goods. It's just about physically examining them before you open them, and always cook the product that's in them for at least 10 minutes. Boil for at least 10 minutes. I always buy rechargeable batteries. Remember to buy batteries that can be recharged, all right? So emergency supplies, get your pen and paper out, okay? Get a pen and paper out. We're going to go over this quickly. So I hope you know shorthand. Flashlight and batteries. A manual can opener. Military style is best, but if you want to get one of those, then I got a really good one from Dollar Tree. It's really lasted me. You know how they don't always last. Battery operated radio or a hand crank style radio. Matches in a waterproof container. A utility knife. Paper and pencil, a map, it's not on my list, but I remember now my map, cash, traveler's checks, coins, anything along that line, things that can be traded. I definitely suggest everybody put it in their bug out bag, their own plate, cup, and it teaches them to be responsible for their plate and cup, doesn't it? I guarantee they'll wash it out because they won't want to eat off of it again if you're out, you know. Treat bugging in or bugging out kind of like camping. Garbage bags. We still want to get our waste out of in a way properly. We don't want it to pile up at the front porch or at the street, do we? So be prepared for that. Be prepared to maybe have to burn it or to find another way to recycle it. Pet food. Our dog, of course, has his own bug out bag. You've seen that before, and he carries it on his emergency pouch. So he carries his own dog food for 3 days. A whistle to get you out of your bunker, or to get you out of a cave, or if you get in trouble or you're out spelunking, you always have a whistle on you anyway. And most flashlights and things and compasses will have a whistle on them. So try to get gadgets that have multiple purposes. And a compass is a good idea. Small canister, ABC type fire extinguisher, needles and thread, fishing line, and remember those little extendable fishing poles that I told you that I got that look like pencils or pins, like large pins? Get them off eBay for $4 or $5 each, and you got yourself a way to fish. In an emergency, you can fish. But I don't think all this is necessary. It really isn't. Plastic sheeting to put down underneath your tent. A tent, duct tape, scissors, extra set of keys and IDs, because you're going to need extra set of keys and IDs on you, and in your local maps. I guess they did put maps on here. A small tent, compass, and a shovel. Remember the military shovels? There's a reason there's a shovel. It's to bury your poop. All right. What we just have is a compostable toilet, and that's what we're going to have in the basement. And so we're not going to have one of those flush up toilets in the basement. I want to have one area in the house that is totally off the grid. In case we go off the grid, that means everybody going to the basement to go to the bathroom, but we'd have a bathroom. I don't think anybody complained. Nobody else had a bathroom. So, and being on 5 acres, we can find a way to recycle that. All right, so household chlorine, bleach, and medicine droppers. And that is to keep your water clean. But again, I have a Berkey, and it will last up to 4,000 gallons of water for my 2 charcoal things, and longer. I've had them go up to 6,000. So it's about $100 and some to switch them out, but that's worth it. That's worth it. So extra Berkey water filters. But that's just your 72-hour bug out items besides your food. Food and water, you're going to need 3 days worth of food, 3 days worth of drinking water, and or a Berkey, even a small one to filter water, and 3-day supply per person of non-perishable foods. Okay, and take everybody, and the dietary needs is in play here as well. All right, so first aid and emergency medical kit. You need first aid. You need bandages, germicide hand wipes, antiseptic wipes, non-latex gloves. You need antibacterial ointment. Make sure it's got zinc in it. Scissors, just small ones, and tweezers. You know, get the splinters out or whatever. A CPR breathing barrier, little face things, such as a face shield, and get CPR certified. My husband used to do the certifications, and I'll have to talk to him about whether or not he can still do that or not. He was licensed to do that. He's letting all of his licenses go back. Prescription medicines, such as your heart or blood pressure medicines, asthma inhalers, don't forget your inhalers, and your medical supplies, and even your insulin. Don't let someone tell you that you're going to die first because you're the sickest. That is absolutely a false statement. Maybe in a pandemic where somebody might have a health issue, but you can stay away from people like they're doing now. You can stay in, and if you have these types of things stored, you can. It's eventually going to go. All things, good or bad, do come to an end. It's just the way of the world. So prescription medicine and non-prescription medicines such as antihistamines, ibuprofen, which you don't want to take that if you get the virus, anti-diarrhea medicine, and antacids and laxatives. Those types of things. Okay, I think you get the picture on that. Personal items. Extra prescription eyeglasses and contacts and everything that goes with them to clean them and whatever. We already talked about that. Your dentures, your contact lens supplies, your hearing aid batteries, diapers and infant supplies, if applicable, your sleeping bag and a warm blanket for each person, and additional bedding if you live in a cold weather climate. Complete change of clothing for each person, including a long sleeve shirt, long pants, and a sturdy pair of shoes. You know, hiking boots, some good ones, not the ones that rub your feet raw. I'm talking a really good pair of shoes, a favorite old pair of shoes that you used to hike in. Put them in there. You know, don't get something new and then never wear them, because you will regret having to walk a long distance on a new pair of shoes. Make sure that you practice your bugging in and bugging out. Make sure, well, you've already practiced bugging in, haven't you? Make sure you practice bugging out. Make sure you practice hiking and trail walking if you can. Even if somebody's with a wheelchair, practice how you're going to get them in and out of the house. Practice, practice, practice. It'll build your confidence, and it builds the confidence of the family too. And if you're the head of the household, that's important. Moist towelettes, minimum hygiene supplies, and latex gloves and other items for personal sanitation care. Okay, toilet paper and things like that. We, however, use a bidet. So, but will the bidet work if something happens? Well, you got a water bottle, put a couple holes in it. No, I'm sorry, emergency is an emergency. We all got to do what we got to do, right? So important documents, birth certificates and marriage certificates, driver's license certificate. I mean, anything that you need. Insurance policies are really a big one too. Your contracts, deeds, stocks, bonds, anything like that. Passports. Get one of yourself a little lock box or one of those that close down and lock, and make sure that it's portable. That's got handles on it. I know they can be really heavy, but make sure that they're in a fire safe proof box, and make sure they're in a location where they can be taken out of the house quickly or stored in your bunker. Immunization records are important as well, especially with what's going on. You know, both know. Unless the immunization comes from a certain company, I'll take it. If it comes from another company, Gates, I'm not taking it. All right, so I'm not being political there. Don't mention anything about it. I'm telling you, I'm not taking the mark of the beast. By the way, the beast must sit in the temple before the mark is dished out. But that doesn't mean they're not preparing you to see how many will take it. I think we're always being groomed and prepared. So bank account numbers, credit card accounts numbers, company contracts, checks. A lot of people don't think about checks. So you can write out a check. Prescription information, your doctor's phone numbers and emergency numbers, and inventory. And that little flip book that I showed you here. Something like this is a good place to write that information and add another sheet of paper and have it laminated and add that information to this about you if you have a certain thing, or wear your medical alert bracelet. And inside the medical alert bracelet, mine opened up and I had my phone number and my doctor's phone number in there. Not my phone number, my doctor and his phone number was in there. So there you go. Veterinary records for your pets as well. Don't forget pet photos and pet records. Okay. Keep going. You want me to keep going? Or me turn this into another video? Why don't I turn this into another video? Why don't you process what I've talked to you about so far, and we'll be right back on the next video. We'll make this part 3. All right. I'm going to make this one about emergency preparedness stockpile for your grocery list. This is going to be your grocery list. That's why I want to do this on another video. Okay? Hold on.